So now you're saying to me, Allison, this is fantastic. I want to learn how to become more customer centric. Great. Let me lay out a roadmap for you. On one hand, I have the completeness of customer knowledge. That's how much breadth and depth do you have about any given customer. On the other hand, we have the speed of decision making. It's only good to have customer knowledge if you can do something with it, right? So how fast can you make decisions and execute on them? So the top right is our holy grail of having tons of customer knowledge and being able to make quick decisions. Well, how does this start? It starts by, at number one, the first stage, collecting the basic information. I particularly like starting with the web analytics information, though you don't have to. But the web analytics information is good for a couple reasons because it is kind of a pre-aggregation silo of information related to other customer touch points. So if I do something on paid search, or if I do something on email, or any other campaign channel, I can funnel that information into the web analytics tool and also track the subsequent behavior. So getting a really good foundation around web analytics is a very good place to start. The second stage is around pockets of insight. So once you get some data to work with, then you start getting, little bits of insights that you didn't see before. Oh, I didn't realize that so many people were getting stuck on this page. Oh, I didn't realize that we actually had a very high bounce rate over here. And those little snippets of insight are valuable, but they're generally tactical things. Sometimes you can act on them, sometimes you can't. But it starts getting the cultural change of the organization flowing. Unfortunately, it can also lead to the pit of reporting despair. And that's what happens when you just generate lots and lots of reports that people can't actually make a whole lot of decisions from. So you might get, and it's really common for many stakeholders to get 10, 12, maybe even 20 reports that talk about the same thing in different ways. So maybe they get a paid search and a media buying report, and then they get a web analytics report, and then they get a different web analytics report, and they get all this information together, and the stakeholder is left holding the bag saying, how do I make a decision from this? Well, what do? Because they want the information, because they're starting to understand, they turn around and say, could you please give me some more data about X? And this leads to more reports going out because the original reports didn't answer enough questions to give them the ability to take action. So you end up with these poor analysts who are doing nothing but generating reports and running ad hoc requests and not doing what they should be doing, which is proactive analysis. Now, there's always some need for reports. I don't want to minimize that. They're a fantastic tool for cultural change, but we don't want to have all of our analysts' time running reports when they should be doing what analysts do best, which is finding magic in the data or analyzing. So then the third stage comes up, and all of a sudden, okay, we're coming out of the pit of reporting despair. Our analysts are starting to analyze, and we now need to align our department so that we're all working towards the same goal. There's a couple ways this happens. One way to align the department is to cut the data properly from the beginning. So if you cut it around use cases, which reflects who people are and what they're trying to do, it gives you a great advantage when you get to this stage. But you also have to consider, what external research do you have that tells you what people really want from your brand? How can you make their lives easier? How can you remove roadblocks? Putting those pieces first and foremost, and then aligning your team so that everybody is solving that customer question is what the department alignment stage is all about. This is also the place where you start to get more individual customer information first through. You might actually start capturing customer IDs, or you might start back matching information, but the volume of the information is still fairly low. It's not enough for you to really be able to churn customer lifetime value. Unless you're a retailer, you might have enough if you're a retailer. Then we get to the next level, which is the Chief Analytics Officer. So we've got our department functioning. We've got everything flying forward the way we want it to, and we're starting to respond to customers. But now I need more information from sales, and I need more information from call center, and I need more information from the business intelligence group. I need a bridge to help pull all this information together because me reaching over to my partners is sometimes not enough. Even if I offer to trade information, I might need a chief analytics officer to pull it all together to say, here's how we're going to operate as the broader team in order to understand more about what we can do for the customer. But the chief analytics officer runs into his own problem, and that I call the pit of technology despair. And that is that when you start to pull these larger and larger data sets together, eventually you need a big place to put it. And it's not a traditional warehouse that you need, like a traditional Teradata or a traditional Oracle database. What you actually need is a high-speed analytics decision-making platform that allows you to do things like land and model data and create certain security requirements that might be different from your core security requirements. So this pit of technology despair has to be overcome before you can get on to innovation, which is the beauty of pulling all that data together and getting more complete insights about the customers and who you want to reach out to and how well you're doing it. Once we get through innovation, we start to operationalize those different the different pieces. So instead of it all happening at the executive level, now we're pushing back down into managers and people at the tactical level, making sure that they understand here are the individual tactical pieces that we need to do in order to operationalize the full view of the customer. So for example, the way we treat new customers is dramatically different from repeat customers. But the way we treat new customers who do a specific type of action, so new customers that haven't called the call center 16 times, might be different than the way we treat new customers who have, or the way we treat new customers who've made large purchases may be different. So we're combining all that information, we're creating a decision out of it, or even a model, and we're pushing it back down to the tactical level where somebody can operationalize the decisions based on that information that's at their fingertips. And then finally, we come up to full integration. And this is where we take those extra parts of the organization that might not traditionally be customer facing and we blend that into the full model. So in pharma, it might be the drug development cycle. How are we developing different molecules to address different customer segments that we already own? Well, that's a big question that combines lots of external large data sets and fully integrates the capabilities. Or it might be the real estate location that we go after if we're opening retail stores. Or it might be the way HR integrates with our internal teams. Are we rewarding people for doing the right thing when it comes to customer-centric behavior? So full integration is the holy grail where we finally have not just complete customer knowledge, but we're able to execute it internally and externally in order to generate value that our company finds to be a competitive advantage, long-term competitive advantage. And this is the overall picture of the map, the journey to customer centricity. Now, where are companies along that cycle? Here's where I believe they are. And you can see there's kind of a divider between the ones who have the technology together and the ones who don't. So right in between Nike and Costco, the ones who have the technology really humming are at the latter stage, and the ones who are still trying to pull all that technology together and share it across the organization are at the earlier stages. So that's our view of how you become customer centric. I hope that answers some questions for you, and we'll talk a little bit more about some of the specifics that happens in each of those stages next.